This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans, of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk and spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them bags. We got all the news, we know all the stories. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. We say what your local reporters can't say. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Con, and Jose. Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus.
We just call it how we see it, big bro. And that we will always.
Welcome, one and all, and welcome to Don't Cause a Ruckus. I'm sorry, Stathead is making me laugh and throwing me off my game 100%. I'm AJ Khah. Welcome to Don't Cause a Ruckus. Third time I'm going to say it. Normally, my co-host would be my rival, Jose Ruckus, but he is not here today. He's too busy working. He got called in for a double. So originally we had Slick Nick Williams planned to come in today, and I was hoping to introduce him and then have Stathead pop up as Slickhead. The reason why Stathead's here and not Slick Nick is he also had something pop up last minute, so he couldn't come. I'd like to say welcome to Slickhead.
Hey, it only takes one moment, one opportunity, 1 yard, $1, and I'm here.
I love the OTO representation, man. How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, it's been so long since we've seen each other. Like I feel like
it was like yesterday.
Yeah, crazy. I'm doing all right. Got a little surprise for you and some other of my D&D fellows as I was building maps most of the day after my doctor's visit. I had a very mundane day.
A mundane day.
On a Wednesday.
Wow. On a Wednesday. A mundane Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right. All right. Well, awkward intros out of the way. Let's get into it. Let's do what we do here at Don't Cause a Ruckus, and let's cause a ruckus and argue about sports and stuff. We're not yelling about sports and stuff. That's tomorrow. Yeah, I can't believe they let us do this, right?
It's
the two of us having our own show. I'm gonna get a call up halfway through from Josh. Be like, "What are you doing? Stop it!"
Yeah,
right.
We can't.
Keep on track. All right.
Let's bring it up. I don't know what we're talking.
You'll see. All right.
Okay.
Now, Stathead. All right. The question is, did Lamar Jackson cost himself a giant paycheck? He decided to bet on himself, and reportedly, he reportedly rejected his latest offer and declined a $250 million extension from the Ravens because he wanted to, quote unquote, bet on himself during the free agency and how he's doing this season. Now, the question is, was that the right call? Because in my opinion, he hasn't been playing his best season this season. Stathead, what do you think?
I think that if they don't pay Lamar Jackson as someone that Baltimore is gonna have a revolution. I mean, this city loves that man. That man is Baltimore, and I think they're gonna look like fools because if he goes somewhere else, like he's gonna pop off. And like he still has every ounce of talent there. I think there's a lot of things working against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, and I think he's doing the best he can with. I watched it happen against the Broncos. You got bad tackles. Their rookie tackle, what is it, Fulele? I don't remember, but he is basically paper right now. He's got to get better. I can't name you. I can name you exactly one wide receiver on that team, and he's primarily known for returning punts, and that's Duvernay. Their running back room injured. Lamar Jackson's the whole offense, and I'm gonna be shocked. I love Huntley. I think he's a great backup. He's a similar style of play to Jackson, but Jackson, you give him tools to work with, he's gonna be great. If you don't, he's still gonna be good, but obviously there's stuff working against him. I say give him a bag, but make sure you don't hurt yourself. Make sure you still have enough to give him stuff to work with.
So okay, so what you're saying is you think he did do a good job betting on himself by not signing this contract. Okay.
I think so. I think he's got all the leverage because if he goes, the offense in the Baltimore is trash.
So I agree with you in the fact that I think he made the right decision. Do I think it panned out for him? No, because like you said, he has an injured wide receiver core. I think if he had his crew around him and he could ball out, he definitely. You don't take that. You bet on yourself and you go for the gutso and you show the NFL why they should pull out the big cartoonish bags with the dollar signs in front and throw them at him when he comes a knocking. But the cards didn't pan out in his favor, and I think he made a mistake. I think this is one of those opportunities. I'm always the type of guy that's get your bag, man. Unless you're going home and you want to go home, which I can totally respect and understand, get your bag. And I think he missed his shot right here. I think this is an opportunity where he could have made a ton of money, maybe not be the most well-paid quarterback in the league, but at the same time, I don't think he's playing up to the standards of being the best or most paid quarterback in the league. Do you? I personally don't.
I think he does, because if Baltimore doesn't pay him, someone else is gonna swoop in and give him that bag, and I think he's gonna do just as well, if not better. I mean, Seattle. I'm gonna be Jose here for a second, I'm gonna make a case for Seattle. All right, okay. Geno Smith, old. All right, but playing really well in that system. If Lamar's on the table, Seattle's gonna swoop in, and Lamar's gonna thrive. And then Baltimore's going to look like a bunch of idiots. I mean, you could go to any team that is having quarterback struggles right now. You plug in Lamar Jackson, immediately that offense is going to attract free agents. You're going to there's going to be talent, especially ones that can draft. Oh my God. They're going to do so much better.
All right. So let me ask you this then. You say plug and play any team. All right. Let's do a couple teams right now.
Okay.
Plug and play. Let's see. Patriots. Do you think Lamar Jackson would do better there?
No, but not his fault.
All right.
I think Belichick doesn't like mobile
there?
quarterbacks. Cowboys? Yes.
Cowboys.
Yes.
All right. Colts.
My gut says yes, but not first year.
Falcons.
Ooh. Oh yeah, they got Drake London. If Patterson comes back and they get some good wide receivers, I think so.
Okay, so you're
but I also like
Ritter. Panthers.
Ooh. Yeah. Again, there's some questions at running back and I think O-line, but yeah, I think so.
Last one, Saints.
I could see it. Yeah.
Okay. If you think that can happen, all right.
Yeah, 100%.
Because honestly, I don't think so. I could see him doing well in a couple of those teams' hands, but saying that he would play better, he's a plug and play quarterback, I don't think that's true. I think the man lost out on an opportunity to get a bag. I think you're right. I think it's one of those situations where he's lucky in the fact that there is a very, very, very small amount of good, what I say, A quality quarterbacks in the league now.
Yeah.
So I can see some team coming out of the woodwork. Genuinely, I can see Arthur Blank putting out the cash bags to get him. He tried to do so with Deshaun Watson, which was a horrible play. So I can see it happening. Do I want it to happen? We'll see. But
I feel if you got Lamar Jackson on the Falcons,
I'm not disagreeing. He's better than Mariota, 100%. But I'm saying I think he did not do himself any favors by betting on himself with the play he's putting in this season. We can put a lot of blame on the team and what's missing, but at the end of the day, he's not doing as well as everybody expected. I think he lost some money doing this. I think he should have kept what was in his hands. And honestly, I'm glad that he bet on himself. At the end of the day, I think that's the best thing for a player to do. But in this case, it didn't pan out for him. That's just my opinion. I think the only thing that's playing in his favor is a poor quarterback market right now. That's all I think. But let's keep it going.
Yeah.
We have more things to talk about. Like, all right, Stathead, who do you think is the best receiver in the NFL right now? There's arguments to be made about a lot of people in the NFL, from Tyreek Hill to Justin Jefferson to Stephon Diggs on our screen to even the injured Cooper Kupp. Now, who do you think currently is the best in the league?
Do you want my biased or unbiased answer?
If he's a Patriot, I want unbiased opinion. If he's not a
unbiased.
Patriot, okay, there it is. Because
Biased
if you
is
say
always
any
gonna be
Patriot, that's going to be biased.
No, unbiased. I think. Ooh, it's got to be one of the LSU boys. I think Jamar Chase is not the best, but he's going to be there. I think he's going to be the best, especially with Burr. But I think right now it's Jay Jettas. I think he's doing some great things over there. I think if you take away Jay Jettas from the Vikings, I don't think the Vikings are what is it, 10 wins now?
Jay Jettas. Are you talking about Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was
That's
like,
his nickname.
I didn't know that's a wild
I'm hip.
nickname.
I'm cool. I'm with it.
I'm not. Okay, so thank you for that. I'm glad
Yeah,
to know
absolutely. No, I mean, listen, Diggs is a phenomenal tactician. He's got great routes. I think
Right.
A.J. Brown is one of the most, like, him and DK Metcalf are just physically built. They can body people. Tyreek Hill, we already know Tyreek Hill is great. And, like, the fact that you paired him with another speed stolen Waddle puts him in the top duos. But if we're talking a single wide receiver that you got to watch out for, I think it's Justin Jefferson.
Okay, fair. I mean, I want to agree, I do, but I don't, because it's Tyreek Hill. It's Tyreek Hill. The man is the fastest man in the entire league. Literally, I wish he played soccer for the U.S. men's team, because he would put literally every soccer player to shame. All right. That's a whole other conversation I would love to have, because if the U.S. took soccer seriously, just imagine the team we get. LeBron James as goalie. All right. Tyreek Hill and OBJ, who's actually a good soccer player, known for that. Like, if those guys wanted to play soccer instead of football, we would have all right, Derrick Henry as a defensive back. Like, come on, that would scare the crap out of these Germans, and those guys scare the crap out of everybody.
We could put a lot of NFL players on the soccer field, and they would not know what to do.
But even basketball players, like Steph Curry as a striker, man, that guy would be putting it in from like 40, 50 yards out and just chipping it in. You know, if he can do that with his hands, he can do that with his feet after a time. You know,
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
All right, but it's Tyreek Hill. Just because his speed alone and his footwork make him the best. Look at how the Dolphins changed drastically before and after he came onto that team. It is literally night and day. Tua looks like a brand new quarterback. Everything looks better. The wheels look smoother. Like, it's one of those things where, like, in my opinion, he has an argument for MVP just because of the drastic change that he made to that offense. Literally opens up so many other receivers just to get, and so many other options just because he's that big of a threat and the defense is drawn to him. It's easy to see a lot of other players as that, but if you look at just purely the impact he's had on the Dolphins as a whole, and just compare him to other players and what he's done, it's got to be Tyreek Hill, man. You're like, that's a good argument.
No, it's good, but at the same time, it's like, if we're talking most valuable player, like, if Tyreek Hill were to just sit out a couple drives, I think the Dolphins would still be fine. If, like, in the passing game, I think Waddle was doing things his rookie year before Hill got there. And I think Waddle, like, they can't just focus all on Tyreek, because they have to focus on Waddle. If they play one, the other one's going to get open. That's the whole thing. You got Justin Jefferson, like, just soloing. Like, I love Adam Thielen, and Adam Thielen is like,
I was gonna say,
good.
Thielen is
Thielen is not on the same level.
Thielen.
but Thielen's not on the same level as a lot of these duos out here.
But,
Thielen
okay,
is,
he's like,
I would say Thielen's your more like
he's a
consistent.
Roddy White.
Yeah, he's like your Larry. I was going to say Larry Fitzgerald. He's your consistent. He'll catch the ball, but
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's the playmaker. He's the one you go to.
Right.
He's the one you feed.
He's your Julio, and then the other guy is Roddy. Like, that's how I look at it.
Okay, yeah, that's that.
You know
I
what
can
I
take
mean?
that. Yeah, I get that.
But that's not a bad 2 for combo. That still means that you have maybe it's the same argument you can make for like Hill and Waddle is like they have that combination of like one's
Then
going to
we're
catch when the other one's not available though.
If then we're getting into combos and like no argument, Dolphins have like a better combo than the Vikings, but we're talking single best receiver. I think I have not seen anything that Justin Jefferson cannot do.
Okay, so you're saying Jefferson. I'm going to say Hill. All right, chat. Let's see if we can put up a vote. If not, just say who you think is better because I think that's the only way we're going to get this one tied. We're going to keep going because I want to hear what Stat has to say about this next subject because honestly, legitimately, I can't decide whether I have a strong opinion on something, but I feel like I could be swayed on this one. All right.
Okay.
Is Mike White legit?
Yes, 100%. I'm coming at this from every
QB
angle.
of the future.
Every single angle for this.
I want to hear it out.
I
have an automatic hate for the Jets.
Oh, me too.
And this guy sounds like a creative player. So I want to genuinely hear what you have because I just imagine a brown shirt, like 2K player coming out.
That's what he is. And
convince
from
me.
Every angle, Mike White is that dude. I don't know why. Like from the chaos angle, like it's just funny. It's just funny to see someone come in over the first round draft pick and toss 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's really funny. But
that is funny.
He did this before. I think you give him the start and you see what he does. He's been acting like a leader. Is he the long-term starter? I cannot answer that because I don't know offensively what they are looking for in a quarterback because Zach Wilson athletically is better than Mike White. But it's not about the athletics anymore. It's about the fundamentals, and it's about leadership. Zach Wilson lost that locker room, and I don't know if he's going to get it back. There were issues, I believe, and anyone in the chat can call me out if I'm wrong, coming out of college where Zach Wilson had like some locker room issues, I guess. I didn't hear a thing about Mike White because I'm pretty sure the football gods just went to create a player to make a backup quarterback for the Jets. And what happens in like all the story modes, you end up becoming amazing. And I think that's what Mike White's trajectory is I think if Mike White has this season alone to be Nick Foles. He has this season to be that 2017 Nick Foles guy. And he does not need to do anything else. He will be taken care of. Garrett Wilson already put stamp of approval on Mike White. I think the team's his now. And like, listen, we were all calling Zach Wilson a dog in the preseason for, his interest in moms, and that was all good fun. But when someone else comes in here and one-ups that guy and, like, just makes him look like an absolute, I know I'm the stat guy, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a single 300-yard game with 4 touchdowns that Zach Wilson had. Not just this season, but the previous season. Mike White's had 2.
I do think it's funny that the man who's known for like going after Cougars is now benched because his opening line up to them would have been like, "Hey mama, I'm quarterback for the New York Jets." And she's like, "Really? I know nothing about sports." He's like, "Yeah, look at this." And then shows him.
Listen.
So his opening line is, "I play for the New York Jets."
Mike White, Zach Wilson,
which is not as good. It's not
Zach Wilson, Milf Hunter, Mike White, Daddy. That's what that is. He put that kid to bed. You go into timeout. Daddy's here, and he's gonna score some touchdowns.
He did. Mike White, the creative player, did put Zach Wilson in bed. He messed with someone's wife that he shouldn't have and got in trouble. And Mike White decided to come in and teach him a lesson.
Time out.
Time out.
I love the Mike White story. It's hard for me to hate the guy, even as a Patriots fan. I mean, I don't even care about the Jets anymore because we beat them twice, so it doesn't matter to me what they do now. I want them to lose, obviously, so we can make the playoffs. But I love the story of Mike White. You know, I want this fifth round pick, like as Freddie pointed out in the chat. Shout out to Freddie. But like, I want him to do well. If it has to be for the Jets, then the AFC East is going to be jammed packed with like hard nosed what it is right now, and it's neck and neck anybody's fight. We might all make the playoffs, and I'm cool with that reality.
Okay, stop dreaming. And with that, dreaming, you know, that's a great transition to what I want to talk about next, which is the podcast of the FCSE. We have all your best podcasts that you could dream for, including Freddy Stat Go, The Info Arcade, and current podcast you're listening to, Don't Cause a Ruckus. Spotify, yes. The silky smooth sounds of the podcast of the FCSE. It's amazing. And the next thing I want to talk about is also quite amazing. And the fact that I think the Rams are the worst defending champs in NFL history. Personally. What do you think, Stathead? Do you think the Rams are the worst defending champs in history? Because genuinely, the way they've played this year is not great. Look at how they've played throughout the season. And it's a little baffling that they've had such struggles. Especially because they just won. Thoughts on that?
I'm really trying to think of like recent memory who won and then immediately was garbage. Because it wasn't the Seahawks. Oh, it might have been the Denver Broncos were pretty bad when they beat the Panthers the next year, because I think Peyton retired and then they had Osweiler. But the Rams is like a new low. And the fact that their head coach kind of just went, if Donald, Stafford, and Kupp are gone, I'm gone. And now Donald, Stafford, and Kupp are all injured. They banked on like one Super Bowl ring, and it paid off. And now they had that Super Bowl ring. And the Buccaneers in 2003 won the Super Bowl. Another team that I feel like banked a lot on a Super Bowl. Like, you put all your eggs in one basket, and what do you get? You get what you're getting with the Rams. They had no investment for the future. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback now, I guess. And yeah, they might be like honestly top 5 worst Super Bowl hangovers of all time. I'm willing to say that.
Okay.
They're so irrelevant. I haven't even thought about the Rams until you brought it up.
Yeah, they are pretty irrelevant. I can't really think of I genuinely believe that the Rams are the worst defending Super Bowl champs. Like I don't know if they're statistically out of the playoffs.
No, they are.
Subject change.
They are.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say at this point it's goddamn close if it hasn't already happened.
They have to overcome the Niners and Seahawks, and then also the entirety of the NFC East.
If you've been paying attention to this podcast at all, if this podcast show, whatever you want to call it, I still think the 49ers have arguably the best offense right now. So yeah, for them to overcome that, I don't trust.
What do you think is better offense? I don't trust the quarterback situation.
Well, no, duh, but that's kind of like
they have
theme of the season.
Like their quarterbacks are, but like maybe I don't know Brock Purdy though, so maybe Brock Purdy is legit, maybe, and if he is Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant, that's a great story, and I want that for him.
I would love that. I want a new Tom Brady. I want a new GOAT. And if it has to be him, I'm excited.
I want the new Tom Brady to be Bailey Zappi.
I love how you think that.
I want it.
If he ever gets I want Tom Brady to start doing better so the Falcons are statistically out of the playoffs. Even though they still have a chance, I hate it. Because I want Ritter to start playing. Because Mariota is not good.
Mariota's
said
your
this.
bridge. We all knew
Mariota
this.
is a leech on the shark that is Ritter. All right. Ritter is a champion in the making. I think he's better than Mahomes if he's given the shot. He has a lot of good play. Like, he's shown so much potential in Cincinnati. Right? That's where he was.
He's a Bearcat. He's the
Bearcat,
40-year-old, 23-year-old.
Exactly. But that's the type of quarterback you want in the NFL, though. Like,
I
think
get
about it. Think about what I'm saying, though. You know what I mean? Like, you want that 40-year-old mentality, but in a 25-year-old's body.
You want that man to have a mortgage. He's
You
got
want
3
him
kids
to have
already.
that responsibility, all right? You want him to have that old soul that, like, he's reading the New York Times and doing that shit with a pipe, corncob pipe, and slippers.
He's
with
doing
a
the
golden
crosswords. And he's like,
Labrador's
what's an 8-letter word?
Exactly. That's instead of being Kyler Murray playing Call of Duty, you want him to be in his fuzzy slippers in a jacuzzi, just sitting there, like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, fuzzy slippers in the jacuzzi for the chat, being like, what are you talking about?
I really do love Desmond Ridder on the Falcons. I think that's a great fit. That's kind of why Lamar Jackson, I don't think, should go to the Falcons, because I want to see Ridder rip the ball. I want to see him sling it.
Same. I just think he needs the opportunity. I love how we were supposed to. We were supposed to talk about Alabama next, but I really don't.
What
know
about
much.
Bama? I got some Bama takes.
All right, fine. Let's ask you this, because I don't know anything about college. All right,
This is an easy one. No,
it's not the end of an era for
until
Alabama?
Listen. It's the same thing with the Patriots. As much as everyone hates it, as long as you
Okay,
have
the Patriots are done. No, the Patriots are done.
I'm sorry.
There's no chance.
Until
over.
you take Satan away from the head coaching position in
yeah.
Belichick, and Nick Saban is one of Belichick's Horcruxes. It's just how it works. All right, he's gonna keep doing well. Are people gonna beat him? Yes, because everyone gets stronger. But it's not over until they step away. You cannot say it's over, because the moment you do that, AJ, the moment you say they're done, they get stronger. They feed off of your doubt, your fear, your negativity. Don't say that.
I've been feeding off of the Patriots being not good ever since Tom Brady left. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Cam Newton. As a quarterback, I think Cam Newton got a raw end of the deal. I think he still has potential. I would love to see him in the FCF. Cam Newton, call me. I am the owner of the fan-controlled football Bored Ape football team. So if you want to play in fan-controlled football, I'm right here. You can join the Bored Ape team. I will use my tag for you. But I still say, all of that aside, Cam Newton should have had a better go at it. And I really wanted him to do better in Patriots. But it made me so happy. As soon as Tom Brady left, the Patriots crumbled. Now, I think that's over. So if you're saying that Alabama's the same thing, I feel like the new era is that of Dog Nation. Okay?
Oh, 100. Here's what I'm saying.
I think that's the team to beat. I remember in my college era back in the day, Alabama was Alabama Clemson from what I used to remember. Now it just feels like go
Georgia.
Bulldogs.
And Michigan. But with Alabama and with the Patriots, there are consistencies. And it's those they are whittling them down slowly over time. It's not going to be over until those coaches step away. Belichick's always going to have a defense that is going to mess you up. Saban is always going to pull out it's always going to come down to the wire with Saban. Always. And Saban is going to throw the entire kitchen sink at you, just like Belichick. And if you blow them out, that's a feel-good victory. But I don't think it's over, and I don't want to say, are their dominating ways gone? Probably, unless, whoever was Bryce Young's backup. But I think they're still going to produce talent. I hope a lot of that talent comes to the Patriots, because apparently we know how to use Alabama talent, I guess. I don't know. It's a pipeline.
Okay. Get off of your little throne of I love Bama Patriots. All I'm saying is I think there are waves within football where there are coaches and systems that dominate for a certain set of time. These teams and other coaches can adapt. Now, after seeing them dominate for so many years, new blood comes in and eventually takes over. And they adapt and have seen this for so long that they know they've been going, oh, I know how I'm going to beat that. I know how to do that. And when they come, that puts that old era behind them. So for me, I see this as something that I think the NFL as a whole is doing in general, a changing of the eras. I think these quarterbacks, these old-timey quarterbacks, the Matt Ryans, the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, and the old-timey coaches, the Belichick's and, Alabama guy. I forgot his name. I was talking about
Saban.
Saban. There it is. Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, it's like Saban. He must own the Power Rangers. Right. That guy. Yeah.
That's the guy.
That's
Alabama
the
guy got the Power
Alabama
Rangers.
guy got the Power Rangers, right?
R.I.P. Tommy Oliver.
Truth. Jason David Frank, rest in peace.
I will say, you make a good point, and I think I can point to two things that because I don't say it's over because these are some of the smartest coaches in college and in the NFL. So I think that they can learn to adapt. But I think what really did Saban in.
But are they at their old man age where they're like,
they might
no.
be. But with Saban, I think the NIL really is pulling high quality talent. I think that these, like you said, these newer coaches are kind of pulling away from Alabama, not just because of money, but I also think, a lot of big star recruits out of high school, they might go to some of the bigger names, some of the non-Alabama, because they want to beat Alabama. People aren't going to want to go to Alabama because they want to beat Alabama. Now you're the target. With the Belichick system, it's very simple. It's not hard to figure out what's wrong with the Belichick coaching, and that's Belichick's always going to have a top 10 defense. If we don't have a good offensive coordinator, we're not going to have a good offense. We don't have a good offensive coordinator, and we need to make points. We can hold you to as little points as possible, but if we can't score, you're going to win.
Fair.
That's all it is. I think Saban put a target on his back, and I think, especially with the rise of Georgia's rise of just they got 40 players that are just destined for the NFL. I love it. It's fun to watch. I love great teams, and this Georgia team, one of the best.
Speaking of changing of the guards and one of the best young teams, I gotta ask this now. The World Cup. We gotta shift to the World Cup. We gotta talk about it. It comes every once in 4 years. It's one of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
But Portugal recently benched Ronaldo. And I have to ask, are they better off with him on the bench?
I don't. I think they're fine. I think they're fine without Ronaldo. But listen, if they imagine what they could do with Ronaldo after just dropping 6 points on Switzerland. I think you got a good squad already with no Ronaldo. I think plugging Ronaldo in makes that squad better, especially if you I think there's a lot to work with. I don't want to say they're better. I think they're great and they can go far, but you look at that lineup and France and England, which everyone wins, that's scary to me. And I think, it's a safe bet to put Ronaldo in. I don't know what the chemistry's like. I hope it's fine, and I hope Ronaldo can just step onto that field and, mesh. But I know if you get a big star like Ronaldo on your team and they haven't meshed, and now you force, it's like the Zappers and Owens. You're just going to force feed the big name, then you probably aren't going to do well. They're going to look at Ronaldo more. They're going to probably be more ready for Ronaldo. And I think that's why, you have that element of surprise. No Ronaldo, they don't know what to expect though.
I think you have a good point there. I have a lot of opinions on this, obviously.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Portugal is my country. I've literally watched the rise of Ronaldo from his first World Cup to his current last World Cup going on right now. So for me, I love the man in a very platonic way. I think he's one of my favorite superstars ever. Purely because he's been on my team his entire career, and that's the team of Portugal. Having said that, I think Ronaldo needs to stay on the bench. Why? Because every team is planning for him. And when you don't, it's exactly like what you said. It is the element of surprise because they're like, oh, crap. And the beauty of it is Portugal has a lot of young superstars. Look at the guy who they put in, Ramos. The guy literally got the first hat trick of the World Cup. And that is saying a lot, especially when there's superstars like Messi, Mbappe, all these guys all across the world, even Neymar, like who's chasing Pele's record. It is one of those moments where you have to understand and pass that torch. Ronaldo has to bow down and allow this because it's also something that I think this coach in Dos Santos is realizing and learning from the last coach in Big Phil Scolari, in the fact that when Ronaldo first played his first World Cup, they were eliminated in penalties because the coach didn't put him in early enough. They put him at the 5th penalty, the last in line, and he didn't even get to take his penalty. They were already eliminated before he could take a shot. Now, I think this is the situation where the coach doesn't want Ronaldo gassed and being something that could be somewhat of a cost to them on the field in the last couple minutes when the game matters the most. They want him to be on fresh legs. They want him to, when everyone else is gassed, be able to come in, provide a spark, and get that goal. And if they can't, be one of the leaders that can clinch that penalties for the team. I think it is beautiful that the way he handled it this last game, he came out with the sub penny on. He celebrated with all his team. And when he came on, he played his heart out. He tried to get a goal. It was offsides by a mile. I'm not calling him onside. I wish it was onside. It would have been great. I love the man. I want him to get as many goals as possible. But he played well. And it's one of those things where, like I said, I think this is more strategy than, anger. I don't think this is out of, disrespect. I don't think this is out of the coach and him being on odds. I think this is purely strategic, and something that we all need to realize is that when it comes to the World Cup, this is more about the country than the player. Everybody wants to bring that trophy home to their country. It is a big deal in the world of sports, especially outside of the US. It is the most important thing to a lot of people. And it is the highlight of many athletes' career if they can hold that. So if Ronaldo is a true sports fan and really wants to get that final cherry on his career topping, I think he needs to allow himself to come off the bench. It's unfortunate, especially if he's comparing himself to Messi, who's still starting and playing almost all games. It's hard. I get it. I if I was him, I would want to play because I still think he is the best goal scorer in the world. But it's one of those things where sometimes you got to go with the chemistry. You got to go with what's playing for you. And I think he understands that. Now we got to keep the soccer news going. As much as I want to keep talking about Ronaldo, I gotta go on to something that everyone else wants to talk about. It's the U.S. The U.S. team has a great young squad.
Oh yeah,
and I think they have such potential for the next World Cup in 2026. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Math. So, question for the day: what's next for the U.S.? Do you think the men's U.S. team needs a new coach? Because genuinely, I do think they need a new coach. But what do you think, Stat?
First of all, we bleed red, white, and blue. Literally, I don't know if you saw the report of our guy that went down of the goal. They literally told him, "You are bleeding red, white, and blue," and he's like, "America," and he's like, "No, blood." So, I'm all in on this U.S. team for that player alone. I think coach-wise, you got to look. We got to round 16. I feel like that was kind of the goal. I feel like we weren't going to go beyond 16. But you look at our game against the Netherlands. Are we getting the most out of these young players? Are we really gaining their potential? And I don't hate the coach, but I would not. I think we could do someone that pulls more out of these young players. They're young. You don't want someone that's going to, be content with 16. We want someone that's going to be only content with winning. Is Ted Lasso available? No, he's not a real person. But give me that Ted Lasso type. Give me that type mustache. He's there. all winning. Even in the losses, he's still there. And like I want that fire. I want that energy of like we're gonna go all out, and we're either gonna hold up that cup or we're gonna lose, but we're gonna be back. And the goal should not be in 2026. The goal should not be round 16. The goal should be championship.
See, okay, that's where I agree with you. So the reason why we're talking about this is Bernhauser or Bert Holzer or whatever you want to say. His contract is now up, and the U.S. needs to make a decision over whether or not to re-up his contract or to go find someone new. Now, I agree with you. We shouldn't be going for round of 16 next year. We need to be going for the win, okay? Because this whole mentality of, oh, we're almost there, we almost got it. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not a winning mentality, and I don't like it. I think it is terrible. I think it's something that needs to move on, and it's something that, as far as like the U.S. mentality of soccer, needs to go. Like I said, if we had a soccer team made of people that actually cared, this whole team would be filled with like LeBron James, Derrick Henry. It'd be nuts. Now, the coach we need to find is one that legitimately actually goes for attack. This was a defensive team. The entire time, all we saw was a defensive squad. We didn't win a game. Actually, squash that. We won one game when we had to against Iran. Up until that point, it was a narrow win. Up until that point, it was a bunch of draws that got us through. Now, I personally, I want to be able to know that the squad is moving on after game 2, right? If the coach is going with this, we'll squeeze on by. We'll squeeze on by. I don't like that. I think that's a losing mentality, and especially for something that the U.S. should dominate in, it's something that needs to go.
We got a lot
There's
of great soccer
so
players.
many other teams we can look at that looked outside of their country for a team coach. Look at Iran. They went with another coach in Carlos Queiroz, who's a Portuguese coach, and they turned their squad around in like 4 years. It's massive. I think that's something the U.S. needs to do. They need to look outside of the U.S., outside of like what we can do here. Even though like the MLS squad players have had a good showing. Switzerland had a player from Chicago Fire who was showing out during that last game against Portugal. But still,
I think that mentality of, hey, round 16, that's good for when you're building the team. You want to see where you're at. We know where we're at. We know we are top 16 now. But if you're top 16, you're a top 16 team, you in the bracket, then there's no more, am I a top 8? Am I a top 4? No. Once you make top 16, then it's, okay, now we're contenders. Now we're winning the chip. Like,
exactly.
we've built the team. We got the guys. Now we need to – I love a good defensive team. I love a team that can protect its goal. I love a team that can, take the ball away from them. But like you said, aggression. We got to be firing off. We got to be attacking. If we know we can defend well, and that's important. We need that other half.
Exactly.
A lot of these ties, especially 0-0 ties. Not even we don't even score. That hurts me. We got to be attack. It's
okay when you're playing above your class to get a tie.
Yeah.
It's not okay to look for a tie.
Yes.
And that's my issue with the U.S. men's national team as a whole, with their mentality that came with Bert Holzer and under his, like, I'm not going to say regime because I don't like that word, but under his, like, camp, his tutelage, if you will. His tutelage. I think we need a whole new mentality. We need a change up in the U.S. men's national team, head coach down. We have the talent. We have a lot of players from Arsenal, from Chelsea. Like, these are actual Premier League soccer players. They are playing against their counterparts, their teammates in the World Cup. And the performance is just not there. It looks disconnected. It looks like the only time they know what to do is on defense, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay. All right. But talking about defense and offense and coordination, all right, this is one that the fans were talking about. They're getting heated in the Discord, all right? I know a lot of them, like Woody the Duck and Nerdy, coming in hot saying we need to have more control. The control we have is not enough. We need more.
More control.
So I have a question for you, Stat. Let's change it up. Next
Okay.
topic.
Yep.
Should fans be able to choose their coaches in the next season?
I
Do you
love
think we
this.
should draft coaches?
I love this because I was thinking, I was just like sitting in my car thinking to myself, how fan controlled can we get? Obviously there have been discussions of, individual defensive plays, which I am still pro. I still think that'd be fun. Mix and match with coaches. I think it gets a little complex, especially if you're drafting offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, because do they come with their own playbooks? Does each, can you redraft them? Can you, are they entering the pool after each game? Or is it like you select it before any players? This is the strategy we're going to go with. If it's before all of the games even start, and you pick up a coach, let's say offensive coordinator, and let's say everything with defense is going to be the same. Offensive coordinator, right? Do they come with their own playbooks that are now team-specific playbooks? And everyone can see them. You can choose what you want. Now, the problem I'm already thinking of with that is everyone's going to see the playbooks. But everyone already does anyway with the more general playbook. I think having a diverse playbook is really unique. And I think, yes, but I don't think it's going to function properly early on. I think if we do go through with it, there's going to be a lot of hiccups. There's going to be some wild, wacky stuff like there always is when we introduce new concepts into the FCF. And if the fans are willing to wait that out, I think it's a fun time.
All right, fair. I think normally I'm all for fans having all the control. Having said that, and I think this is more just, I guess I had more of a behind the scenes view of everything, because you and I both worked in the FCF back behind the scenes last season, but I was at more practices than you were.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I was almost at every practice. And I guess that makes my viewpoint different, because I don't think the fans should be able to draft coaches. And I know a lot of fans are going to be like, you know what? Screw you. You're an owner. You don't know what you're saying. You just think that FCF should have more control. And I genuinely, no, I think it's the way that the company is built. It's very much everybody is coached by everybody. The only times I really saw the actual offensive coaches come into play was towards the end of the season. Now, a lot of coaches Coach Arthur Ray, who is the Bored Ape coach, he did a lot of defensive work. He also worked with the tight ends a lot. A lot of O-line work, and then worked with the tight ends a lot. Now, a lot of these other coaches were working with individuals like quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and they all kind of grouped up together and worked out a lot of the times together. It was only towards the end, after the final couple weeks, that the offenses came together because they were working on anything. I think it's great, but I think it's a lot, like Freddie said, there's a lot of fun having a control to that extent, but there's having so much control over everything, it could be overwhelming. Not only that, it's overwhelming for the FCSE as a company to handle all that. They are giving fans access to something that they've never been able to do before. I maybe it's just me, but I feel like we need to be grateful for what we have, and not always be like, yo, keep giving us more. Because, hey, they're listening. They're trying their best, but we also have to have some realism here. And it's hard to do that, guys. It's hard to implement that. As much as I'd love to see it, I think that's a big ask. I think we should be happy because it's pretty even across all the boards on who sees what. Pretty much all players work with all the coaches. And it's just sometimes maybe, hey, it's the luck of the draw. Because genuinely, the coach that won the last 2 years in a row. So maybe everybody wants Coach Ford. But
I mean, it's also everyone everyone's going to be coached by, the same head coach. We're all going to get that same head coach. And really, like you said, it's player position coaches
Exactly.
that are the coaches of teams, but they're really there to call the defensive plays.
Yeah.
So if your frustration is you don't have enough defensive control,
That's different.
you are the offensive coordinator.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
that's you. Like we can't pick an OC, but if you want a DC, like,
And if we're even talking about that, the defensive coordinators would flip-flop almost every game. And the only time I heard that teams had specific defensive coordinators were the very last 2 games, I think, into the playoffs. And even then, I think it wasn't until the last game, and then they're like, you have to pick a side. You can't have you guys flip-flopping in the middle of the game.
Think about it like this. They have to try and defend what you're doing.
Exactly.
And they all know the plays. Everything in the playbook, all these coaches know, but they don't know what you're picking. So they have to pick, like, what they think you could be calling out of the, like, in that time period that you get to call the plays. In fact, I think they have to pick it before that. They already have to be setting up for the next one.
Yep.
And that in itself is a task, because it is like thinking against a hive mind. If to pick a defensive coordinator would, like, it wouldn't matter really,
Right.
because they're going to be doing the same job as what they're doing now. They're still guessing against that hive mind.
Exactly.
It's not our coach versus your coach. And, like, maybe because, in season 2, we gave these coaches more of a limelight. Maybe they think that, maybe you all think that picking these coaches, no, these coaches are going against you, and they're all on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just going against whoever they're playing with. It's like the players. The players are all team FCF. You're just picking them to a specific team, but they've worked together. Like you said, they've trained together. They all know each other. They all know
live
each other
together. They all
They
eat
live
together.
together. This is all one big happy family
Like, it's split up into sides on the weekend.
that really are playing against a bunch of people on the internet. They don't know what's going to be called, but they know the plays. But that doesn't mean they know when those plays are going to be called. I think the way that it is now works. And really, if you want more control over the defensive side, then you get into breaking up the packages to, like, maybe just positional groups. I think that could be fun.
I think it's exactly kind of like Freddie said. Like, it's great having control to an extent, but there could be too many things. I think what fans need to do is focus on their offensive play calling.
Yep.
I think fans as a whole need to start learning the combinations, how to call plays, when to, like,
know your players,
exploit.
too.
Exactly. Know your players, know who your weapons are, know how to exploit the defense they're playing against. You guys need to put in the effort just as much as the players do. You guys need to get in there and do videos and go over everything. Watch the replays.
If you want to be more involved, you have to get more involved. If you're just, sitting there and you're voting, which is still valid, and you can do that, that's already, like, that's great. But if you aren't on the drafts, if you haven't been watching the games, if you aren't, like, looking at the defenses and really studying them, if you want to choose a coach, don't be a coach. Talk to your players in the Discord. Study the film. Watch it again. Look up, like, what players are doing what on other teams. Try and, like, really figure out what plays in that playbook can exploit certain players. What are their weaknesses? What are they not doing right? You get more out of this than as you get as much out of it as you put into it.
I'm loving the passion. I love the fans wanting so much, but I feel like it was said today in the Discord when someone was talking about the XFL reveal. Those jerseys are cool, sure. Like, the Guardians probably have the best one with the neon because it looks the most different out of all of them.
Oh,
but
that's
I think
a whole other don't cause a ruckus.
That's a whole don't cause a ruckus. But I think Peanut said it the best. The fact that they weren't fan controlled makes them a little less fun. Like, fan controlling jerseys, we have a lot, guys. Like, let's not forget, we're not the other leagues. Like, the FCSE is not the other leagues. They're not the other companies. We get to do a lot, and let's appreciate that and get really involved with that. But that's it for us today, guys. I got to thank my buddy Stathead here for coming in and filling in. I really appreciate them coming in at the last second and helping me out when Slick couldn't. So
I'm Jose Slickhead.
Guys, there's so much cool fan controlled content to be made and to be watched here at the FCFE. Please, guys, don't forget to tune into the Info Arcade live Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that's like California time. And also, you got to check out the fan controlled show that happens every Thursday at 2:30 Pacific,
That's
5:30
tomorrow.
Eastern. That is tomorrow,
Oh my
guys.
goodness.
I don't remember the name. I think it was Liquor in Pittsburgh. I think that's the name of tomorrow's episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, hey, it sounds like Josh's favorite topics. And guys, don't forget Wednesday nights live here and on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, here where you're watching it, also in podcast form alongside the Info Arcade and Freddy Stat Go. But come, guys, watch us Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's California time, as I like to say. And you know it, for me, for my buddy Stathead, and for my buddy Jose Ruckus. Guys, if you have any topics you want to talk about, don't forget, you can send it to King Khah and all that. But for the three of us here, I'd like to say thank you guys for coming in, hanging out with us, and be mindful. Don't cause too much of a ruckus.
OT.